Hey, everybody, welcome to our show. We call it Three Broke Guys Handicapping. It's where we review one of the top racing cars from around the United States. We will select a four-race sequence from that track and attempt to come to a consensus on a pick four ticket. Thank you for joining us. Week number 50 of the racing season, and with temperatures plunging on the East Coast, why not head up to the Big Apple? The Big A, aka Aqueduct Racetrack in Ozone Park, New York, for one of the better racing days we get in the fall. It's Cigar Mile Day, and the Big A has 10 races. There's 4 stake races, and the late pick 4 starts in race number 7 and ends in race 10. There are 2 stakes in the pick 4 on Saturday. My name is Rich Sharp, and each week I'll be joined by my friends and racing analysts. It's our East Coast handicapper, and you can probably hear the bell ring at the track from his home in Staten Island, New York. That could just be the sound of ice forming around your house, Ray Torado. Exactly how cold is it going to get at the track tomorrow?
It should be okay. I think it's in the 40s.
Yeah, it was
40 degrees.
Earlier in the week, I thought it was going to be chilly.
No, I thought it was going to be cold than that, but
Yeah,
actually, there might be a chance of rain. So, rain, 40s, or a little wind, the typical aqueduct weather. So,
oh, okay.
Jamaica Bay.
Well, speaking of typical weather, up next, he's our West Coast handicapper, and he's coming at you from his home in Temecula, California. Joe, it's not exactly freezing out here, but what's that wet stuff that's falling from the sky every now and then? I can't seem to figure this out.
Something we need for a long time, except in the burn areas after the recent fires. But yeah, that rain is obviously necessary, and it's played havoc with the last 2 days at Del Mar. They've taken the races off the turf both Thursday and Friday, and with 2 big turf races over the weekend. I'm assuming those will stay on regardless, but we'll see what the weather holds for the next couple of days at Del Mar.
All right. Well, you know what? I am going to give it to. We haven't done this one yet, but I'm going to call this the annual tree lighting ceremony of the Three Broke Guys. And as you can see behind us, I've got my little tree up here. I'm not sure if you guys can see it. It's actually a Los Angeles Lakers tree, so it's not representative of Three Broke Guys handicapping. That's actually downstairs. For those of you who follow me on Twitter, you might have seen my post a little earlier this evening. It's actually got some Hollywood Park decorations that my family gave me last year for Christmas. But I'm going to go ahead and fire this one up, and those are the Lakers decorations that are on the tree. There go the lights, and there go the lights for it. For those of you at home, I'm actually missing a star up on top of there. The team did get one this year, but I haven't been able to acquire one for my tree just yet. If anybody knows where I can pick one up, point out to me here on our page, on my Twitter page, on Joe's Twitter page, or at Three Broke Guys Capping at Twitter. All right. Moving along now. Last week was pick 4 wars. And instead of combining picks like we normally do, last week, we hit 3 different tracks around the country, and we gave you a choice of pick 4s to choose from. And hopefully, you put your faith in our host, as it was me that managed to hand out the late pick 4 from Del Mar Racing. My $54 wager, thanks to Ray and Joe, who loaned me a couple of bucks to go over the $50 limit. It paid $264 and made me the winner in this year's final pick 4 contest. Gentlemen, I'm going to be looking into getting a trophy. We'll keep that one in perpetuity for all of us. And every time we win it, if we have to, we'll ship that one all the way across the country to you, Ray. Just know that when me and Joe win it back, it's coming back to California.
I was close, man.
You were close. The final summary, for everybody who was wondering on that, I think the thing that made us most proud of that was we actually hit 9 out of 12 races, and the 2 races that we missed were the 2 were Joe. You had a couple of brutal races down there at Churchill Downs that started off, and Ray couldn't come up with the winner in the finale. So we did finish off 9 out of 12 last week on our pick 4. It was a nice full streak for us. Like I said, that trophy is going to exist in perpetuity, and it's just going to ship around the country. And Ray, if you manage to take that title from me, I promise I will ship it out to you. All right, time for a quick weather update from Ozone Park, New York. Partly cloudy in the morning. We've got increasing clouds. There's periods of showers in the late afternoon, so keep that in mind as we move into this. There's a high of 46 degrees. Wow, that's balmy weather for this time of year. But there is a 60% chance of rain. So again, keep that in mind. There is a turf race that kicks this one off. There are a total of 10 races. There's 4 stakes on tap for Saturday, and for today we are focused on the pick 4. It begins in race number 7 and concludes in race number 10. Gentlemen, The gates are locked and loaded. The outriders are clear, and the starter is ready to pop the gate. It's pick 4 post time.
Let's do it.
Let's go.
Race number 7. Approximate post time is 2:39 p.m. Eastern time. I'm not aware if there's a guarantee in the pick 4. I'm certain that there is, but I wasn't aware what it was. Race 7, they're going 6 furlongs on the outer turf. The purse is $80,000, and there is up to $13,000 and $920 for New York State bred, foaled, or acclaimed. For 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won $10,000 twice, other than maiden, claiming, starter, or state bred allowance, which have never won 3 races, or optional claiming price of $62,500, 14 starters, and keep an asterisk, I guess, next to that one based on the weather. And your morning line favorite starts from post number 14. It's Dr. Shane, trained by Danny Gargan and ridden by Irad Ortiz, is 7-2 on the Aqueduct morning line. Operating near the site of a former conduit of the Brooklyn Waterworks that brought water from eastern Long Island to the Ridgewood Reservoir, Aqueduct Racetrack opened on September 27th, 1894 by the Queens County Jockey Club. Many great moments at the Big A. Hall of Fame horse Cigar won the first 2 races in his 16-race win streak at Aqueduct. Champion racehorse Secretariat was retired at Aqueduct before the public on November 6, 1973. And maybe my most favorite statistic of all is that Pope John Paul II celebrated Mass in front of a crowd of 75,000 at Aqueduct on October 6, 1995. Joe, I have long contended that you and Ray were in the audience that day praying for the correct selections at Belmont. Who do you like in the opener, though, today at Aqueduct?
95.
95, yeah.
I think it was.
No, well,
Joe, you out there.
Yeah, I'm guessing we were probably, if he was at Aqueduct, we were probably at Belmont. Anyway, yeah, this was a tough heat. Bear in mind that it's actually rich. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to correct. It's a field of 16, but there 16. Are 4 main track only horses in this race. So if it goes on the turf, chances are there'll be a maximum field of 12, obviously, because the MTOs will not get in. And basically, I'm making my selections for the turf only. The forecast that I saw, so that was what I kind of said that the rain was going to start later in the day, probably at around maybe 4 o'clock in the afternoon, or at least the heavier precipitation. So I would assume, if that's the case, that the race will stay on the turf, and I'm making my selections based on that. It's funny. Who is it said that we have nothing to fear but fear itself? So I guess I'm going to the number 10 horse, Fear. He's a recent claim by a barn who does really well second time after the claim. Jose Ortiz decides to stay aboard. He returns quickly, or at least quickly enough, and he's got 2 works in between. So obviously he's at least fit enough to get works in between. He should be somewhat involved early, which always goes to what we do here is we handicap the back page, or at least we factor that into the handicapping. And Speed usually does well at 6 furlongs on the grass. And he should be, like I said, he should be somewhat involved early. He's 8-1, drew outside, and I'll take 8-1 with Jose Ortiz and Jeremiah Engelhardt, who's having a pretty good meet. And I'll use him on top. I went with the favorite, my second choice, the 14, Dr. Shane. He was 3rd in his last at this level, and he was close to a fast pace, and he held pretty well for that distance and for that pace. The barn's hot, and Irad, who won 3 races today, sticks around. He's going to be close to the pace, or at least it's very likely that he'll be close to the pace. He's drawn outside, and he's got 2 main track only horses outside of him. So even if the field stays intact, he'll be in post 12 at the very worst. But again, he won't have to worry about horses being in front of him at any point. He's probably going to be up close to the pace and sitting on the outside. So really, he should probably not have an excuse to win this race. And the other choice I went with is the 3. Al Mithmar is the pronunciation. He's been fine sprinting on the dirt, and he tried turf once, going longer, and it wasn't a bad effort. It was 5th of 11. His dam was out of a Royal Academy mare, and Royal Academy won the Breeders' Cup turf mile way back in the day. Actually, I believe, if I remember right, and Ray might be able to confirm this, it might have been at Aqueduct, but I'm not 100% sure about that. And of course, I'll give kudos. Almouth is ridden by Johnny V, who today won his
Wow, that was unbelievable.
6,000th race in his career.
Oh,
Of course,
nice.
it was trained by Todd Pletcher. Not really a big surprise. I thought I saw a stat on Twitter that 1,750 of Johnny V's wins were for Todd Pletcher.
Wow,
So that's not really a big surprise considering that he's ridden first call for that barn for I don't know 10, 15 years or somewhere around there. So congratulations to Johnny V. And again, he's obviously done well on the turf. He holds his turf percentage is the same as his win percentage for 2018, which again in bigger fields is really kind of hard to do. So I'll take him as my third choice, and I don't want to leave him off my ticket. So for me, in order 10, 14, 3, and again, these picks are contingent on the race staying on the grass. If it goes to the dirt, I guess we'll have to
scramble
at some point reconvene tomorrow and re-release our picks based on that fact alone. But I guess you'll have to stay tuned for that. 10, 14, and 3 on the grass for me in race 7 tomorrow, right?
Yeah, you're right. This is the type of race, unfortunately, the NYRA would just throw everybody for a curve and take it off the turf because, it's just an option allowance race, it's not a stake race, and, they have a tendency of doing that. So just be aware that things could happen here, and, we have some scratches, But, that being said, this race stayed on the turf. I do like number 6, Adonis Creed. He's one of those turning back from the route to a sprint. He had a good race July 7th in Belmont on this level, showed good speed before he tired a little bit. He also ran the 24th in Monmouth, and he made a winning move before he ducked out, and there goes the jockey gone. He lost Paco Lopez, and he's not going to finish the race. So, but I would like to see a stronger turf fighter than Cancel, but he's 9% anyway. So, he rode him well back in 2017 in Delaware, and it's just he's third to Frostmore, who's a really good horse, and Adonis Creed should have a good effort here. Yes, Joe, I like them 14, like you said. Dr. Shane, they had a good third in the same class. His last race, his New York bred. He's been running well in open company, lounge company. You got Danny Gargan, who's has a good. He's good with beating favorites. So you see 29%, 28%. Ira the Tease is riding well in the meet. You can say 3 winners today, and he's good with EP types too. So Dr. Chen should be out there. He could be the speed for post 14, and he could storm to the lead and just not look back. And he's a tough horse too. He's 20, 30 in the money. Only got 4 wins, but he's like an exacting trifecta horse. So maybe he'll just break that streak and win this time. Yes, I like number 3, your horse, Aftermar. He's been running well. Third sprint, second time on the turf. June 8th, he ran at Belmont, showed good speed. Found the mile a little bit too long for number 3. He probably found his best distance here for 6 furlongs on the turf. So Giant V rides. Congrats, Giant V, 6,000 wins. Very happy for you. You've been New York's NYR is a great rider for many years now. He's branched out, so he's doing very well. Shallow Stables, McLaughlin. There's a horse here I want to mention, number 5, Tusk. He's another one turning back from a route to a sprint, number 5. He led a good pace on 27th Belmont on a yielding turf, and before he just came and tied a little bit. He shows signs he wants to sprint. He's 9 for 17 in the money on the turf, so he does like the turf. He's 10-1, Manny Franco. So also Fear. I like Joe's horse, also Fear. So I'm going 5 deep here. He's been spinning on the turf, Tapeta, dirt. He's also 8 for 17 in the money and the turf. And Jose Ortiz gets on the board, and like Joe said, 8-1, Jose Ortiz will take that. And Engelhardt has a good percentage off the claim, 30%. He's number one from fourth race after being claimed. I mean, he ran for 80,000. Fourth by 7. But if you notice, I think that's Dow's Beach. He won by 6 3/4. So he's only like a quarter length off of being the other 3 horses. So he was pretty competitive that race. Going to drop him down now. They're taking advantage of the price. And I've seen this often. James Riccio dropping horses down. So they should. He should have a good run. And also, like you said, watch out for more information about the race day on turf. All right, so I'm gonna go 6, 14, 3, 5, and 10. That's Keno. Because we have to have a lot of selections here because a few of them might get scratched, so we have some backup plans here. Rich?
It's the reason I need a computer for this show.
Yeah.
Track how race.
But this race is a tough race. It go many ways.
Yeah, I think I heard all of my selections get covered by the two handicappers there before we get there. So I won't go on too long here. I think my top check mark, I think the one that goes on here, I've got 5 selections just like Ray did. I've got 5 for my individual ticket. I'm going to give you my top 3 here for the 3 broke guys here. I've got the 14, and that's Dr. Shane. I ended up beating the chalk. I'm sorry. Danny Gargan appears to be really hot. And Joe, thanks for reminding me there that there was only 12. That hopefully this race does stay on the turf. And that if you get 12 starters on the turf, then I am going to go 5 deep. If this race gets washed off and goes on the dirt, I might not even bet the pick 4. We'll see. I'm not really certain. I'm not really certain what's going to go on there because you're going to get 3 other horses in that I haven't handicapped yet.
Yeah.
And you're going to get a whole bunch that are going to drop out of this race. So my top horse right now is no rain or light rain, and Aqueduct keeps this race on the turf. And I like Dr. Shane. I did like handicapping in the back page first here, so I did see that this was a 67% race. There's been 12 races, so that's a decent sample size. That means that we're getting about 8, maybe 8.5, 8 or 9 out of 12 have gone to horses that like the lead or up on the early lead. And Dr. Shane seems to fit that bill with Irate Ortiz aboard. Again, Danny Gargan is hot. The horse even comes off a failure in the last race, and as you see there for Gargan, he's 28% when he is the beaten favorite. Hasn't done a whole lot of work with Irate Ortiz, but that doesn't necessarily mean anything. And again, I think at the outside post out there, he's going to be able to stay clear of any kind of traffic, and just might take him the whole way. And again, not that that's the wrong way to go here at Aqueduct on this kind of a turf race. My second choice was, and I believe it's the 6. Adonis Creed. That's a former Gulfstream Park horse. It's not on this page. It goes to show you how long I'm handicapping Gulfstream Park. But I think this horse started off back at Gulfstream. Brad Cox, Eric Cancel, and the horse has got good speed. Again, another horse will be up on the lead. And again, that was what I was looking for there. And again, Ray kind of covered why we were looking at this horse. Is moving up in class off of that last one, off that 50, the claiming race for non-winners of 3 that he won. But that was a 10-horse field. It was at Belmont. It was going 1 mile and 16th, so a little bit longer here. But 1 mile and 16th at Belmont is a lot shorter than it appears. And last of all, on my top line here for 3 broke guys, I included the 10. I've got Fear. I like Jeremiah Englehart. I liked all the numbers that he shows here. Second after a claim, he's 30%. Second start with trainer, he's 29%. And you see there, the sample size with both of those is worthwhile. Again, he's got Jose Ortiz, so this is the other Ortiz. And as it turns out, this connection is solid 25% of the time. Unlike the 6, Adonis Creed, Fear is more of a sprinter. Would look like he fits here. Had a couple of sharp performances done at Laurel, and then came up here. And Ray, as he alluded to earlier, maybe a sneaky performance there at Aqueduct in the optional claiming 80,000 race back on November the 4th, and had just been picked up by Englehart. So that was the first race with Englehart. Now this is the second try. So I've got 14, 6, and 10. And if you're wondering, if you want to know who the other 2 are, I also have the 3 and the 8 on my individual pick 4 to make 5 on that first line. Ray fired up the Keno machine right there in the first race. I knew that you would. It's the 6, the 3, the 14, the 5, and the 10. And Joe's got 3 on the top line. Joe, you've got the 10, the 14, and the 3.
See, senor.
Yep.
All right. And let me go ahead, and I will come on back to us, and we will move along to race number 2. All right. And race number 2 is one of the 2 stakes races here in the pick 4 sequence. It's race number 8, going 1 1/8 on the main track. It's the Remsen Stakes, a grade 2. The purse is $250,000 for 2-year-olds only. 7 starters, and the morning line favorite is in post number 5. It's Maximus Mischief, trained by Robert Reed and ridden by Frankie Pennington, 6-5 on the Aqueduct morning line. Let's see, it was inaugurated in 1904. The Remsen was named for Colonel Joramus Remsen. He lived from 1735 to 1790. His family at one time owned a large portion of Long Island, and he became the leader of the American Revolutionary Forces at the 1776 Battle of Long Island. Run at Jamaica Racetrack from its inception in 1904 to 1959. It was run in 2 divisions in 1943, and until 1954, it was known as the Remsen Handicap. The Remsen Stakes is influential as one of the last graded stakes for 2-year-olds on the New York racing circuit, and its winner is generally among the Winterbrook favorites for the following year's Kentucky Derby. Catholic Boy was last year's winner. Ray, who do you like in the Remsen?
Yeah, this is one of my, I'll be honest, this is one of my favorite races for the 2-year-olds that I follow. You know, being in New York, and they go to mile on 8, probably for the first time in their life. So it's a good measure of stamina for me when I look at the Triple Crown races and handicapping. But this year I'm a little disappointed in the field, but it's a good field. It's a decent field. It's not too bad. You got some 7 horses here. I'm going to take a little shot here. I'm going to go with number 1, Jungle Warrior. He's 8-1. Off the layoff, switching to dirt, going 2 turns. He ran in Woodbine in the Summer Stakes, which is a grade 1. I consider that race a good valued race based on the grade, and I know it's on turf and stuff, but it was a good time. He had a horrible trip. I mean, he was broke last, and he just trailed the field. He went 4 wide. But the comment says rallied gamely, so he showed some interest. And now they switched trainers. Jerkins now has him for Strong Stables. He reached contention. I mean, 5th by 6 after being far back. He showed me that he wanted to do some running. He maybe wants to go longer. Out of Animal Kingdom, I got no problem with him being a dirt horse. He's been working Bullets and Belmont Train Track and some other good breezes. So I'm gonna take a shot with him. Jose Ortiz gets the mount. He should get a good trip for the rail. Like I said, strong Bullet, and I'm gonna give him a shot 8-1. So that's my top choice, Jungle Warrior. I also like the second choice, Network Effect, number 5. He's gonna be a solid horse for me too. He beat Lucas's Derby date in his maiden. He ran a good second in Nashua. He shows his liking to the dirt. He showed a strong race off the layoff, and he should improve off that outfit. This is a good 9-furlong test for him. He's already proven on the wet track. In case it rains heavily and the track gets kind of muddy. You got Castellano, Chad Brown, who's 31% for 39 races in the last 60 days. They're clicking on all cylinders. I like Network Effect. I'm a little hesitant on Maximus Chief. I'm not going to. He's 2 for 2. I know you got tremendous speed in those 2 races, winning by open lengths, but he's trying 2 turns for the first time. Stakes company for the first time. As a favorite, I'm leaning towards leaving him off my ticket. If the workouts show, he'll probably be very unbeatable. But I'm just gonna take a stand, and I'm only gonna go 2 deep on my ticket, 1 and 5, and I'll leave Maximus Mischief off. So I'll go 1 and 5. Joe, what do you think about the Remsen?
We're on the same page in different order. It's funny. I prepare my notes as if I'm going to read first, so I'll just read everything I wrote down. Top choice was the 5, Network Effect, proven versus stakes foes at longer distances, and actually on this track over this surface. I also wrote, in Chad We Trust, And the breeding for the only question I had is that I wasn't sure about the horse being bred for 9 furlongs. And
Yeah.
I see this, the stakes race. He didn't go by last time, going a mile around 1 turn. Now he's got to go an extra furlong and around 2 turns. And the breeding was really the only thing that had me kind of worried. So I said I needed to include somebody else, and Jungle Warrior was the horse I decided to include. I said, well, or Jose Ortiz gets aboard for a barn transfer. Not really a barn transfer. Stronach Stables runs the same. Stronach Stables runs at Woodbine, and he runs in the United States. He just transfers local, to local trainers on each circuit. So I don't think it's anything weird about the trainer change. But Jimmy Jerkins is obviously solid. He's out of a Derby winner and out of a dam who is out of a Preakness and Belmont winner. So I have no issues with the distance or the surface. I think the horse drew well to draw inside for his 2-turn debut, and he's working consistently every week since coming in the U.S. since the trainer change. So I had no problem with your 2 horses. And like I said, I just have them in a little bit of different order. And I had the same concerns about Maximus Mischief. I know the Into Mischiefs run all over the world, everywhere. And Frankie Pennington obviously comes down from Philadelphia Park to ride this horse. He's not proven on the big track, and he's not, and he's stepping from, he 5.5 furlongs in the debut, 7 furlongs in the second race, but he only beat 2 horses that race. So winning by 6 against 2 isn't real. I mean, I don't know that it really shows me much. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to see the race. But really, I think this is more an acid test for him. I think you know more what you're going to get from Network Effect, being that we obviously handicap Chad Brown and Castellano. The Philly Park races we don't really get to a lot. The only races we've handicapped from Philly Park is generally Pennsylvania Derby Day. So I'm a little hesitant. Obviously, the morning line maker put this horse at 6-5 as the favorite, and he's going to be one of the betting choices. And if he continues to run the way he's running sprinting, he might just easily run off the screen. But again, like you, Ray, I think I'm gonna take a stand against him. And the other thing, I think Chad Brown's horse may take more money, specifically because it's New York and it's Chad Brown and it's Javier Castellano, and they know, again, those are the more trustworthy connections for this circuit. So I get the feeling that Network Effect will be the favorite. But they'll both be a short price. And again, I'm trying to take a stand against Maximus Mischief. Let him beat me going 9 furlongs for the first time, going 2 turns for the first time. And actually, really, when you look at it, I mean, he beat 2 winners last time out. So to me, this is almost like a debut against winners again, because he's stepping into much deeper water this time. So 5-1 for me in the Remsen. Rich?
I like the 5 a lot. That was my top choice. I went with Chad Brown, Javier Castellano, a top-notch connection. Jockey trainer combination of 31%. Chad Brown, just lukewarm so far this year. He's only at 25% going right now. But as you see, all of his numbers in a race like this all look very good. He was second there in the Nashua, and I honestly considered singling him. Except that this horse, Maximus Mischief, just does have me worried. This is kind of that scary face from another place kind of coming in. So I used the 6 as well. I thought the speed scores were kind of eye-popping. I did see the only 3 horses in the second race. Didn't really know what to make of it. Kind of again, an invader coming in from Parks. Didn't want to get beat by this horse, especially if I'm going to go 5 deep in that first race. So I only went 2 deep. Largely considered singling Network Effect, but just going to go 2 deep in this one and just went 5 and the 6. And I believe that Joe, your top pick is also the 5. Your second choice is the 1. And Ray, your top choice is the 1, and your second choice is the 5. So everybody's 2 deep in this race?
2 deep. Yep.
All right. Nice.
The
dreadful second leg. Let's move on.
There we go. Yeah, I was gonna say.
If it scratches down to 2, if it scratches down by a couple of horses, we just play everybody and
yeah.
All right, here we go. On to the feature. This is race number 9. It is going 1 mile on the main surface. It is the Cigar Mile Handicap presented by Naira Bets. Grade 1, purse is $750,000. It's a handicap for 3-year-olds and upward. 8 starters, and the morning line favorite is in post number 1. Mendelssohn, trained by Aidan O'Brien and ridden by Ryan Moore, is 2-1 on the Big A morning line. In 1996, he became the first American racehorse racing against top-class competition to win 16 consecutive races, since Triple Crown winner Citation did so in 1948 and 1950. Cigar retired as the leading money earner in thoroughbred racing history and was later inducted into the National Racing Hall of Fame. Joe, I never saw him in person, and I guess the closest I ever saw to the famed Cigar would be, Zenyatta, or maybe Wise Dan, something along those nature, but who do you like in the Cigar?
Before I tell you who I like, I'm gonna give a hat tip to our friend, a guy Rich and I met at the Breeders' Cup a few. Was Breeders? It might not have been. It might have been Breeders' Cup, but it might have been one of the San Anita handicapping contests. The Brooklyn Cowboy Kevin Cox, earlier this week tweeted that this is a hell of a grade 3. I mean, Ray, you said you were disappointed in the Ramsden field.
Oh, yeah.
This was about. It's funny because speaking of the Cowboy, I don't mean to digress. I won't be too long, but this card was the first episode of the Horse Players TV show that was on a few years back, if everybody remembers. And in that race, it was Groupie Doll and Stay Thirsty. And I'm like, man, those two would pickle this field pretty easily if they had to. I mean, and honestly, I think you could probably get them out of the barn right now, and they might be able to beat this field on Saturday. I was extremely disappointed in the turnout for this race, and like Kevin said, it's a hell of a grade 3. Like I said, I can go into it a lot more about what graded races that lost standard. But anyway, it's funny, Rich. I saw you scan to the back page, or actually, I actually wrote my notes on the back page, and it's funny because it looks like the mile is pretty good for speed. The 74% speed types, but after looking at this field, I saw that there are 3 look like pretty confirmed speed types that are going to be up here. Obviously, Mendelssohn likes to be on the front end. And to me, Coppertown and Patterned Recognition also both like to be on the front end. So as much as being on the front end is generally advantageous at this distance, not when there's 3 of you going at it. So I kind of went, what's the word, against the grain. I kind of went opposite of what you would normally see. So I'm with the closers here. My top choice was the 7 Timeline. He didn't benefit from the pace, the slow pace in the Kelso last time out. And again, based on if the field remains intact between Mendelssohn, Coppertown, and Pattern Recognition, they should all be relatively close to lead, and I don't see where there's going to be a slow pace. I mean, obviously, Mendelssohn's the most proven of the 3, and if he's the speed of the speed, he could probably get clear, and if that's the case, he might wire this field. But Coppertown's got talent, and Pattern Recognition just won the Kelso going at this distance on the dirt, and the pace. So I think the pace will be honest. And Timeline was a 2-time grade 3 winner back in his day, back in 2017 in the Pegasus and in the Peter Pan against straight 3-year-olds, obviously. But the last showed a definite change in tactic. And I think if he runs that race again and he gets the faster pace, there's going to be something for him to close into. So I like him at 10-1. Again, Johnny V up for Chad Brown. I can't argue those connections either. Second choice is the other horse that come out of the Kelso. The other horse trying to close into the slow pace, and that's Sunny Ridge. Like I said, Arad won 3 races today. He was aboard for the last win. I'm not really sure what Manny Franco did wrong, but maybe being that was just a one-time thing, and I didn't have a chance to look September 22nd to see if maybe If Irad Ortiz was somewhere else out of town. But anyway, the 34% obviously on Rich's page is 32% jockey trainer combination doesn't have a problem. It doesn't cause a problem for me. Again, he should benefit from the pace scenario I see playing out. He is lower odds, and the other thing that bothered me was that if you look, the last race the horse ran was September 22nd, and see, it's funny. I didn't see. It's real to me. That's even odder that there are 2 works since that race, and both within the last week. One on November 24th and one on November 26th. That's kind of odd to me. To me, it almost kind of seems like they're trying to make up for lost time and trying to rush this horse back into this spot. So the lower odds and the physical condition or lack of physical condition for Sunny Ridge made me lean towards Timeline as my top choice, but obviously either one could win this race. And the other horse I went with was another non-speed horse, and that's the 3, New York bred, Pat on the back. He's been in the money last 5 times out, so the form's been obviously very good. He's cutting back in distance from running 2-turn races, and the last 1-turn mile that he tried, if you look back 4 back, was a nose loss to a pretty good New York bred named Diversify at Belmont Park, where basically Diversify does his best work. He's been okay in stakes races. I obviously he'll be tested for graded stakes placing, but again, I'm going to take 15-1. Jeremiah Engelhardt is obviously a pretty good trainer. Dylan Davis sticks around, and like I said, 5 of the last 6 in the money, and you're getting 15-1 on a horse who's in really good form. If he can step it up against this grade 1 field, I think he's got a chance to at least hit the board and heck, maybe even light it up at 15-1. So I went all anti-favorites here. I went 7, 2, and 3 in the Cigar Mile, and I'm sure Cigar is not happy wherever the heck he is that this is the field that is assembled for this race. Ray, what do you have to say about the Cigar Mile, quote unquote, grade 1?
Cigar, he would have won this race by 15.
Running backwards.
Yeah, I definitely agree. This race, you remember B Jersey? He won on the Met Mile.
Yeah, right.
Some other horses, come on.
Who won the Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile?
Still got 750,000. Come on.
Yeah, I get it. And that's another reason why I wonder where the heck everybody is. Where did everybody go?
Maybe the forecast. All right. I like Sunny Ridge, number 2. He ran a good second in the Kelso Mile. They will be speeding this race. I think he'll probably be close to the pace, just off the pace. I think the mile probably is his best distance. He's 5 for 5 in the money, win 3 seconds and a third. So IRDT is definitely running well, and 32%. Jason Service 32% also. So he got a good post. He probably save ground and get a good run, good position, get a good first run on the leaders. We also what Mendelsohn did 2 races ago in the Jack Club Gold Cup. He ran off with I forgot the other horse, but they ran crazy. 109, 133. They just ran nuts. I think they opened up like 12 on the field, and so he's got speed. They're all going to go out there, like you said. Coppertown, what you can get for him. He's going to show speed and try and stakes races for his first time. So, Sunny Ridge could get a good trip. So. He's going to get a good run in the rail. I also like number 8, pattern recognition. He won the Kelso Mile with that slow pace. So he's 2 for 2 at Aqueduct. He's 2 for 2 at the distance. So obviously he has a fineness for both track and distance. He got a good record, 9 for 10 in the Exacta, 4 wins. Jose Ortiz stays aboard. 72 is a good price. For Chad Brown, who's 27%. So. My only issue with him is they might get caught a little bit wide. He's gonna have to run hard early for this post, especially with Mendelsohn in there, and of course Capitan to the inside of him. So he might have to just draft a little bit early, and unless Jose is going to send him, that might use him too much. So that's my only concern. But if Jose could relax him down the backstretch, he should have a good trip. I do like Timeline also at that price, 10-1. I remember him from last year. He was just he's a good 3-year-old. He's had a little. I'm not gonna split my chat out anyway. He's had a rough campaign. This 4-year-old. He was 4 or 6, winning as a 3-year-old. Just maybe this 2-month break might help him. From the Kelso, and like you said, the pace was slow. They tried closing, and he did make up 3 lengths from the beginning race to the end. So at that pace, they did come home in 47 chance. So he did close. It just the other horses to close also because they had a lot left. Time Recognition and Sunny Ridge. So this might be a good race for him, and it'll be nice for Jai to celebrate his 6,000 with the Grade 1 this weekend. So I'm just gonna go 3 deep here. 287 for me. Rich?
Interesting enough, I actually get to talk on this one because I've got a horse that has been covered, and unfortunately, he's the favorite. Of course, I ate the chalk here. I like Mendelssohn here. He has had 3 really good performances in 3 Grade 1 races. He got beat by Catholic Boy, the aforementioned Catholic Boy, who won the Cigar Mile or the Renson last year, and turned into a pretty good horse as well himself. That was just back in August in the Travers. He finished 4 lengths back of him there. But as you see there, he set the pace. He was inside. He finished 3rd behind Discreet Lover, and then in the Breeders' Cup Classic behind Accelerate. I believe he might be the best horse here with Aidan O'Brien and Ryan Moore there on the inside post with speed. I know what Joe was saying, and I know Ray is saying there is some speed in this race. I don't see it as a speed duel race, so I thought that Mendelssohn has the best chance to go ahead and take his Grade 1 today. Again, he's had 3 good performances in Grade 1, so this is the one that he gets to take home. If not him, I did my unthinkable, and I might have to go back and readdress this. I might have to go ahead and spend a little bit more money in this pick 4. I'm splitting my Chad Browns here, so I went ahead and used Pattern Recognition, another speed horse. Again, looking at that back page, I decided to not go ahead and play against the bias in this particular race. Pattern Recognition fits the 3 broke guys handicapping model, the 3 broke guys angle, if you like. He's also stretching out. He was going from 7 furlong races all the way up to a mile, and he's been winning lately. He was second 3 races back, and then a couple of first places. Again, the 62.5 level, then stepped right to the Kelso, which is a Grade 2, and now ready to step it up and take his first Grade 1. He's got Jose Ortiz aboard. They're a 27% combination together, and I felt that this actually might be the strongest spot for him. So I put 2 check marks in this race. I've got the 1 and the 8. Again, hearing Joe and Ray talk about it, I might have to go back and readdress thinking about timeline and using the 2 Chad Brown angles there. So I've got 1-8. Ray, I believe you've got 2-8-7, and
Yeah.
Joe, you've got 7-2-3. All right, and let me go ahead and I will come back. And for those of you who watch our show, I will share some sad news with you that I just got on my cell phone. It appears that the former President George H.W. Bush, the 41st President of the United States, has passed away.
Oh.
He was a fine man, and
yeah.
he'll be missed. So rest in peace, sir. All right, moving along to the finale here, and this is race number 10. They are going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. Purse is $66,000 for 3-year-olds and upward, foaled in New York State and approved by the New York State Bred Registry, which have never won $13,000 other than Maiden, Claiming, or Starter, which have never won 2 races. 12 starters, and your morning line favorite starts from post number 11. It's Quest for Fire, trained by Charlton Baker and ridden by Manny Franco, and he is 2-1 on the Aqueduct morning line. And let's see, I will tell you that Quest for Fire on, let's see, it was a 1981 film. It's got a 84% rating on Rotten Tomatoes and an audience score that says 75% liked it. The characters can't do much more than grunt, but that doesn't keep Quest for Fire from offering a deeply resonant and surprisingly funny look at the beginning of the human race. So Ray, I'm sorry, man. That was about the best I could do. Take us home in the finale at the Big A.
Well, this is a doozy. You get 12 horses, 9 wins of one. So, well, at least they won once, and then now it's the next step. So you got 12 of them trying to get another win.
Yeah.
And New York Breds, they're fun to handicap.
Yeah.
they try hard.
Why move to California?
Yeah. They try hard. You see a lot of 1 for 35s here. This is the sprint. It's a decent race. Like a lot of horses here. Let me load up the Kingdom machine again because I've got 5 deep here.
I went down.
My top choice is Smoking Platinum. He's a reasonable horse, 4-1. This is his first race against winners. Lost by a neck as a 7-5 shot. In that race, first time in Aqueduct. Over that, Figure Lakes trainer Charlton Baker. He's been sending horses down here, and Mike Lozzi picks up the mount, and he's been in good form. In the last races, he broke his maiden solidly in a state bred maiden race, and to only lose by next time out, just shows me that he's still good in form. So I'll go with him, Smoking Platinum. Number 2, Let Me Tell You. He's 10-1. He's just his second race in his condition. He was 6 wide. He made a small move. Post 2 helps here. Castellano stays, and he can save ground. Him with Bruce Levine, though I see the blinkers come off. They're trying something here. Maybe to sharpen them up or make them see the track more. Those are blinkers. Blinkers are funny. Blinkers either they work it on. So, he broke his maiden by over 5 lengths. With similar moves. So he was closing the 3 back. So if he goes back to that race, he's gonna be tough. I don't know if he made a claim race, but still he won pretty impressively. He likes to be wide, so Castellano might have to make some moves here from post 2 to get him wide. And he could do it. So I like number 4, Preferred Outcome. He's from Finger Lakes, so Anthony Ferraro comes down here. He's the same state bred allowance conditions, just with a higher purse. And he's been consistent. He's 19 starts. He's 15 in the money. Joe Bravo gets aboard. He's 20% for the year. He does his best running on the lead, very close to the lead. But he may have company here. Maybe the change of scenery will inspire him. From Finger Lakes, who knows? He just Falls taking a chance here. Maybe for the bigger purse. Number 9, Foolish Ghost, 12-1. He's got good speed too. He might actually shake off this field like with Jose Ortiz. I know Jose Ortiz, but sometimes he likes to gun him hard and just take him as far as he can. He wins a lot of races like that down here. So he finished 3rd, the same condition last time, and he's only a length and a half from second, as the winner won by 5. So he was pretty much close to the other horses, 2nd and 3rd. So he should run well here from the outside post. A slight layoff, Boots Brown. He's about 10% in this circuit. And then last but not least, I did include a favorite, Quest for Fire. He probably will be a favorite, pending other scratches. He romped home in the 40 claimer, and he's 1-4 in an Aqueduct. He ran a good 98 Bush figure. So based on that, he should be the favorite. But sometimes they don't run back to those figures in these conditions, in these New York breds. So I'll be a little cautious with him. Manfacco gets aboard. And he stays on him, actually. And for Charlton Baker, again. So he's got 2 of them in here. So I'm going to go 10, 2, 4, 9, 11. Hope I'm alive. And I can have 5 will pays to look at. Joe?
I'm going to say something that has probably never been said on this show before. Don't split your Charlton Bakers. Anyway,
That's so fun. You said
I had to say it. I don't necessarily know whether I mean it or not. I'm just saying it's just not something that's said on the show before.
Sounds good.
we're after tonight we're adding it.
Yeah, I guess we can never say it's never been said before.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, actually, those are my second and third choices: Smoking Platinum and Quest for Fire. And it's funny, the one caveat I have about Quest for Fire is that the horse is 2-1, and yes, the horse ran a big figure when he first ran. That was 8 months ago. Boy, usually you get a winner like that, you want to get them back to the races as quickly as possible. So obviously they're taking their time with him, but man, that's a long time to wait for a horse who ran such a good debut. And the thing is, the horse is 4 years old.
He had to wait till he was 4.
It's like, he waited for 4 for that debut. He ran like a real good thing. And then, of course, 8 months go by, almost 9 months go by. And this is the first time you see him out on the racetrack again. So, I don't know. Obviously, he's had some issues with health. And if for whatever reason the race happens to turn up sloppy, I kind of wonder, and it's funny. I was just thinking about what I said about not splitting Charlton Baker's. And I kind of wonder if Charlton Baker's ever run 2 horses in a race before. Seriously, only because because we don't handicap a lot of races with his horse in it. Yeah. And I kind of wonder if one of them is going to run and one will not, just because. And if you remember, Charlton Baker was the trainer of Joking, a horse we've handicapped a few times before, who was a Belmont specialist. So it's not like he can't train a good horse. He can, absolutely, he can. He's just not very well known in the New York circuit. Anyway, my top choice is neither of those 2 horses, and he's not a horse that Ray mentioned, so I will get to talk a little bit about the 8-horse Gehrig. And I'm sure you, Ray, as a Met fan, that obviously didn't want to put this horse on your ticket anyway, just for the name. Again, like you were saying, I think there's a lot of speed in this race, and I think he could benefit. This horse can benefit from a pace meltdown if there is one. I like the fact that he's been running 6 and 5.5 at Finger Lakes, and he's going to get an extra half a furlong. If there's a pace meltdown, that extra ground won't hurt. And he's won over Aqueduct before. Obviously, you see that 1 of 6. Obviously, not a fantastic record, but at least he's shown the ability to win over this track. And the other thing I found interesting was that Jaime Rodriguez has ridden at least 2 other horses in this race. Obviously, Ray mentioned horses that were coming down from Finger Lakes. And he's coming all the way down to ride this horse. And if you look at the jockey trainer percentage, 9 out of 20, 45% for this, for this jockey trainer. That's pretty damn good if you ask me. I really don't think you're going to get 20-1. If you do, great. We'll be alive. If we're alive, we're going to be alive to a 20-1 shot. And if he plays 20-1 in the pick 4, even better. But the only thing I don't like is the fact that the horse is 3 for 26 lifetime, and he's run 13 times second or third. But again, given the extra ground, given the possible pace scenario, and given the fact that Jaime Rodriguez is coming all the way down from Finger Lakes to ride this horse, and I did not take a gander to see, and actually I can look to see if he has any other mounts on this card, and actually he does not. So he's coming all the way down from Finger Lakes just to ride this horse. So I'm going to take a shot that he knows something, and he's not just – he just doesn't want to see the city. He's coming down for – he's got a purpose. Smoking Platinum and Quest for Fire were my second and third choices for everything we mentioned and Ray mentioned earlier. And Preferred Outcome was my fourth choice, so I really don't necessarily need to go – I do – if I did – I like the fact that Preferred Outcome is consistent, 5 of 6 – finishes in the money. I like the fact that he started off the layoff, and the fact that Jersey Joe Bravo gets up for a horse that he's probably, that he's never ridden before, for a horse who started off the layoff. I think he's got a shot to outrun his odds, and he's 12-1. So hopefully a little mix of long prices and short prices. I went 8, 10, 11, and 4 in the finale in the pick 4 on Saturday. Rich.
Oh boy. How much time left do I have left? Oh boy.
I'm 6 deep now. I got the 8.
Everything else I'm gonna have to
I'm
have
glad.
Joey-
I'm glad I can make a compelling argument and sway people's opinions.
Yes.
And if it goes off at 20-1, I want to be alive to that.
Yeah, give me those selections one more time for you, Joe. I've got the 8 and then
8, 10, 11, 4.
All right. So I started off with well, the philosophy that Joe was mocking there and things like that. But again, you've heard it here on this show so often like that of not splitting. So I thought I was going to be all unique here and sit there and say, well, don't split your Charlton Bakers. But Joe beat me to it. But honestly, that's exactly my strategy here. So I started off with the 10-11, figuring that if he's got the two top choices, he must know something. I am not crazy about this horse Quest for Fire at all. The fact that they waited again until he was 4-year-olds to start him and then has to wait this long to bring him back does not bode of a lot of confidence. But again, I'm not going to split my Charlton Bakers. My top choice in this race is actually the 9. I like the Foolish Ghost. Bruce Brown, Jose Ortiz. This is a speed type. He finished third in that last race, which was right here at this level. Has a win in the race right before that and a second by a nose just in the race right before that. So the horse is in good form. This type of a race, incidentally, has a Santa Anita-like 83%. So that's 5 out of 6 for 6.5 furlongs on the main track. And so I've got 9, 10, 11. And believe it or not, I went really deep in this race. So I also used the 5, which is Wrong Ben, yet another speed horse. This one coming in for Mark Hennig. It's got Jose Lezcano aboard. And I used, I'm not quite sure how to pronounce this, and I'm assuming it must be Suas. And I was surprised that Ray didn't have this horse, actually. I thought that Ray would have had a Rudy Rod horse. Rudy Rod, Irad Ortiz. And again, I'm just looking for speed, considering that 83% of the time this does go to those need to lead types. So I went 9, 10, 11 because I'm not splitting my Charlton Bakers. And then I've also got 5, 6 in there. Joe has 8, 10, 11, and he's also got the 4. And then Ray has got 10, 2, 4, 9, 11. And again, this is going to be one of those races, which is why I have to have a computer for this show. Come on back to you guys. And we will go ahead and move on to the pick 4 selection portion.
You might have to slim down in another leg to get all these horses in the last leg.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's possible. We can do that. There's a lot of choices there. Just ran out of room.
Here's what we're looking at so far. And for those of you who are not familiar with our show, and I've actually had a question about this and wonder what it is that I do here at the very end. So the very top line, whatever horses that we have here that we turn green, will turn into the 3 broke guys. That's our group consensus pick 4 ticket. The top line is Ray, and Ray is in red. Think of it as the New York Giants when they play in that special red uniform. Or that he's just a good enough friend that he allows me to have Dodger Blue, which is the blue all the way down here on the bottom. And our good friend Joe right in the middle. We show him the respect that he deserves. And Joe goes into the black type.
He's the Raider fan, so he gets the black.
Yeah, exactly. Silver and black.
Yep.
And let me see here. 271. And then on to this last race. So
Not happy that you mentioned that I'm a Raiders fan.
Okay. You can throw out your Twitter handle as well. Let people know so they can.
Hey, except hey, they have 3 first-round draft picks next year.
There you go.
Of course, they need all of them, and they need all of them to play defense. Of course, they also really don't have any weapons on offense anymore either. So you can pretty much go in any direction. I just hope they don't draft a punter.
All right, you guys keep me honest, and especially take a look at that last race there that I just put in. I think I got that correct. In leg number 1, let's see, we've got the 6, the 10, the 14, and the 3. So we're 4 deep. And that's because, let's see, Ray's got the 6 as his top choice. And Joe, you've got the 10 as your top choice. And I've got the 14 as my top choice. That's the 3 top choices that are there. And then the 3 is the consensus pick that is between your ticket and Joe's ticket and Ray's ticket. And
lost connection.
Yeah. In leg 2, we've got the 1, the 5, and the 6. And as a matter of fact, I think with all the numbers I see there in this last one, let's go ahead and we can pull out the. Well, I guess we'll see how it adds up. If we need to, we'll pull out the 6 here at the end. The 1 and the 5 are on all of our top lines here. And again, we had some consensus. I put the 6 in because that was on my top line, but we can actually take that one out if we want and see if that'll save us anything or how much it'll save us. In leg number 3, I've got 2, 7, and 1, and I believe that's just the 3 consensus, the 3 top picks. The 2 is Ray's top pick, the 7 is Joe's top pick, and the 1 is my top pick. The 2, there was also some consensus between Joe and Ray. All right, and in the finale, the 10, that is Ray's top pick. The 8, that is Joe's top pick. The 9, that's my top pick. The 11, we're not going to split your Charlton Bakers. And the 4, if I'm not mistaken, there is some consensus there between Joe and Ray.
Well, that's a $75 ticket, fellas. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, not 75.
You were close, though.
4 by 3, 60. Okay.
Yeah, 60.
You were in the ballpark, though.
That's not bad. It's a tough.
I thought, yeah. I don't have a problem with the ticket the way it is.
Well, we've got coverage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, leg 2. Here we go again.
Oh, there we go again. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, the leg 2, it's the favorite down here. That's the 6 that's sitting at the outside of looking at.
Well, there are, Rich. There are 4. Let's be fair. There are 4 other horses in the race besides besides the 3 horses we would use. But
no, you're right.
Obviously, and usually it's one of the ones that comes out of nowhere. That like Hunter O'Reilly. I mean, just thinking back to like Saratoga, like Hunter O'Reilly, horses that just like 15 and 20 to 1 shots that just blow up the tote board, and we're like, where the hell did that come from? Yeah. So I mean, I'm fine with it the way it is. Again, we've also got to realize that the weather is iffy. And that first race, again, and I'm sure you guys are the same way. The first race is more these are our selections if it's still on the grass. Yeah. If it's off the grass,
sometimes might even scratch.
Well, my guess is if it were off the grass, you'd probably scratch down to a 5 or 6 horse field, and things would change drastically. So our tickets are based only on turf in race 7.
Yeah. So
let's make sure that everybody's aware of that if they change the surface for whatever reason, our like Ray says, generally I'm thinking at least a few of the horses will be scratched in that race, and probably a couple of the ones on our ticket. Yeah. And basically we'd have to reevaluate because then the morning line favorite is one of the also eligibles, a horse that's coming out of stakes races not that long ago. Do share was
he'll be 1 to 5. But even if the turf is yielding, they might even scratch too. So
it's a possibility. Oh yeah, no. And again, I don't know if they have any. I don't know if they have a stakes race later nothing later in the card, obviously, but maybe I don't know if they have anything tomorrow. I mean Sunday, where they would need to save the turf course. I really don't know. But anyway, so.
All right, you guys. So, you got that one? Have you got that down there, Joe? Let's see. We've got 6, 10, 14, 3, with 1, 5, with 2, 7, 1, with 10, 8, 9, 11, 4. I will come on back for one final time.
8, 9, 10, 11. Got it. On my whiteboard.
All right. For those of you watching, if you enjoyed the show, we're going to be back next week because that's what the 3 Broke guys like to do. We're going to get together to take a look at another exciting card. We are going to head back here to California. It's a little bit too cold over on the East Coast. Sorry, Ray, I love you, but we're not going back to the East Coast again.
Sunny and fast, fast and fun.
Absolutely. 1 week from Saturday, it's at Los Al for the big race card in Los Alamitos. All right, gentlemen, that's all the time we have for tonight. It's always a pleasure to handicap with the two of you.
Yes, always a pleasure.
For sure.
For Joe English and Ray Torado, I'm Rich Sharp. Thank you for watching Three Broke Guys Handicapping. Good luck and good night.